Seems that Mick Foley is up on his moral high horse again. Mick Foley, a day or two ago, was on CNN. He was on, the mainstream, the liberal media, and he was doing the usual, I don't like Trump spiel. But also, though, which made me really shake my head, was that he actually did praise Kamala Harris, saying that he thought that she was a positive person and that she was competent. And with that, when I saw that, I couldn't help myself, and I felt I had to post my thoughts on that. And so on my community page, I've got this post here, and I put, in my opinion, anyone who thinks Kamala Harris is positive and competent is seriously misguided. Harris, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden, all wolves in sheep's clothing. Mick Foley is so full of shit. I didn't overlook the timing of his IG video on Trump last week, which came out almost at the same time that the Ring Boy lawsuit was reported. And I'm going to get into this on now. With this as well, yeah, typical Foley was gonna go on and was gonna virtue signal. He was gonna bash Trump, which, hey, if you don't like Trump, and there's many things you could dislike Trump about, that's all well and good, fair enough. But I feel there's a little bit more to it than this. I just, there's some certain things there. Just with his comments on all this stuff going on with McMahon, and then the timing of him going out of his way to do the video on his YouTube channel, which he's not all that active on his channel, from what I've seen. And then, I believe he would have posted to his IG as well. But this was what I was meaning to do a video on this last week. But I haven't. I didn't forget the timing on all this, and this is what I'm going to get into a bit on this video. But first, what I want to do, I want to go back to this video then that that Mick Foley posted on Trump. A message to America and Donald Trump, like his opinion is so important. Like, he's also high and mighty doing this video. It's all one thing giving your opinion, Foley, and yeah, you're a big name, you've got a platform, but at this stage, does anyone really give a shit about your opinion? You're not that big a deal. This isn't like Mick Foley from 99 2000, where it maybe carried a little bit more weight if you put your 2 cents on the whatever the was going on politically at that time. But on this then, Mick Foley, this was 6 days ago. Yeah, so you're talking a week ago now. So this is last Wednesday, yes. But then last Wednesday was when the stuff came out about the Ring Boy scandal, the whole lawsuit. A lawsuit being filed there against WWE, TKO, Vince and Linda McMahon. But anyway, I'm going to play this clip here, and then I'll react just as it's going along. So here we go.
Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about the election. I think it's important for everyone to have a moment where enough's enough. I mean, for me, enough was enough 8 years ago. The Undertaker is correct in saying Donald Trump made politics fun again.
You've made politics fun again.
For about 3 weeks in 2016. But it's 8 years later, and there's absolutely nothing fun about this man. To me, there's nothing fun about a man who could be the next president of the United States talking about the enemy within, making it clear that this was not a mistake. This is his go-to line, the enemy within, the enemy within.
The deep state, huh?
It's the enemy from within. The enemy from within. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in.
Which he co-opted from Senator Joseph McCarthy, one of the worst people to ever grace our planet. What frustrates me the most is that so many good, hardworking American people cannot see through such an obvious con man who is only out for himself. The idea that the working man thinks this guy is behind them has obviously not looked into his past. I know people work hard. They don't always have time to go home and do their research. But instead of tuning into your favorite news station of choice, look up the data. See how many times Donald Trump has failed to pay his contractors and workers over the last 30 years. It's in the hundreds. He claims it's because they didn't do good work. This coming from a guy who claims he only hires the best people. I claim he's screwing over the working man. Kevin Nash today told me a story about going into the venue that used to be the Taj Mahal, mentioning Trump's name and seeing the bartender roll his eyes. And the bartender told a story about his father was an electrical contractor, worked hard his whole life to build up that business. And then when Trump did not pay him for the work he did in the Taj Mahal, and the man was unable to fight it because he didn't have the resources to fight it. Trump knows that the people, honest, hardworking contractors, don't have the resources to fight him in court. And he bankrupts them. Their dreams disappear. That's not standing up for the working man. Words are cheap, and he lies almost every time he opens his mouth. But you know what he's not lying about? When he talks about coming after the enemy within. The enemy within. Who is that? It could be anyone. It could be me. An article came out today in NPR, October 22nd, 2024, with a study that showed Donald Trump...
They're trying to make out Trump's Putin now, right?
...people he perceived as his political rivals. He is threatened to...
Prince Salman in Saudi.
...prosecute Kamala Harris. He accused Barack Obama of treason. He said his...
Probably right, though.
...the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, General Mark Milley, should be executed. He did nothing to stop what could have been the death of Mike Pence, his own vice president.
Crowd chants, hang Mike Pence. There's a hangman's noose outside.
And now he's gone so far as to say that anyone who criticizes the Supreme Court and other judges should be put in jail. So, Donald Trump, I'd like to talk directly to you. Are you going to put me in jail for criticizing your Supreme Court? Because I think Clarence Thomas is a disgrace to the Supreme Court. I think Samuel Alito is a horrible person who doesn't belong in the highest court in the land. I don't think Brett Kavanaugh's interview in front of the Senate would have landed him a job as a dishwasher, let alone serving in the Supreme Court for life. I mean,
he's got away with words, I'll give him that.
I was thinking about calling you a douchebag in this interview, and then I thought, that's a pretty strong word. Trump might come after me. And I made the decision not to call you a douchebag, even though you are one. Vote for Kamala Harris.
Vote for Kamala. That's all he could do. He couldn't say anything, name one policy, nothing. Oh, me. It's like the way he did it, like when he would the point, and like when he would, like, he was going to, you know, the cheap pop, you know, to the crowd. Oh, me. But you know what? Okay, so he may have some good point, like things that he's saying about Trump could be right on the money, right? I'm not doubting that. But again, couldn't say anything about Kamala, anything about her, any of her policies. Again, I'm no expert in American politics, right? But Trump, you know, has at least said, you know, if he gets into office, the first thing he's going to do is going to end, you know, he's going to be the guy to end the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. You know, I want Trump, in a sense, yeah, I'd want Trump in because I want him to back that claim up. You know, well, would he? I don't know. The strong possibility that is just all talk, right? And, you know, Trump's been on Rogan this week saying about everything that he's going to do, and a lot of that could just be talk. But even the stuff, you know, is like, oh, you know, the UFO disclosure and the JFK files and all that stuff, right? I don't know about that. But yeah, it's all well and good Mick saying these things and talking about how, you know, poorly Trump had treated, you know, a lot of the, you know, with contractors, refusing to pay them. I'm not doubting any of this stuff, right? A lot of that probably is true. When you're getting to that stuff about, oh, so-and-so should be executed, and, oh, so people who criticize the Supreme Court should be jailed, I don't know about that. That, to me, seems a little bit too far-fetched based on Trump coming off fairly, you know, alright and decent at face value a lot of the times in these interviews, you know, when it's, you know, well, when it's the people like Joe Rogan, you know, it's not like CNN who are, you know, out to get him. But yeah, I don't know. And I think one thing that Mick Foley is missing is that really with this stuff, Democrat, Republican, Harris, Trump, a lot, it's just really theater for the most part. It's like professional wrestling, you know, it's like they're enemies on screen, but then once the camera's off, they're all, you know, out getting together, having a laugh and a joke, going for a drink. That's kind of what this shit is, you know what I mean? I don't trust this fucker Trump, but I feel though if Trump goes in over Harris, that at least Trump would have to, on the surface, do things that are going to appear to be to show that he's, you know, that he is actually different. He's a Republican, conservative, what have you, and to push back a little bit on all this craziness going on in the world, all the woke shit, and to and again, I go back to the whole thing, Russia Ukraine. If he can do something with that, good. But again, the big thing about this, though, and where I think that Mick Foley was being quite calculated on this, was that the timing of this coming out. Because this came out British time about around 6:30, 7 in the evening last week, last Wednesday. And then when you got to the lawsuit, the survivors of the Ring Boy scandal, this was 3:30 Eastern time. So you're talking about, so they would this came up on their website. So this is probably coming out around, I would say, 7:45, 8 p.m. British time. So Mick Foley's video just happened to come out on Trump about an hour or so before the Ring Boy scandal lawsuit. It was announced that this lawsuit had been filed. Could you just say the timing on that was just really very much a coincidence? Or could this have been an attempt to deflect from the Ring Boy scandal and for Foley to totally, he was aware of it, but to overlook it and to point the finger at Donald Trump? Could be. People say that's a little bit of a far-fetched theory, that's a little bit out there. But the timing of this is awful suspect. And with this, because Lee Cole is somebody that I've messaged a couple of times. Lee Cole, the brother of the Ring Boy, Tom Cole. And he's been doing a lot of work on his channel, getting to all this stuff. And he's been getting into this and exposing this stuff before the mainstream media got their hands on it. And this stuff with Lee Cole and Cafe de Rene, I happened to be on the live stream at the time last Monday, and Lee Cole at that time said something big's going to come out on the Tuesday, and with that, on the Tuesday, it was like afternoon time, Tuesday afternoon, that there was going to be a video. But then it kept getting delayed on the Tuesday. And then eventually Lee, I think late Tuesday evening, said, oh, no, wait, it's going to come out tomorrow. So Lee is, he's in contact with certain people where he knows that this is it's going to only a matter of time that this story is going to get dropped. And I don't know what happened whatever happened on the Tuesday where it was delayed by a day. I don't know exactly what was going on there. Lee would probably have a much better idea than I would. But it's interesting, though, because Mick had recorded the video on the Tuesday, the day before, but it didn't get released until the Wednesday. Now, people could just put that down to, editing and all that, and then getting the time to get it uploaded. It was a 4-minute clip there. You probably spoke for a little bit longer, so it was to edit out and get all the fine parts, and then you got to, with what Mick's saying, and then get the stuff with the sources and the publications and all that, and edit all the clips. But again, I don't know. I just find it a little bit odd, the timing of this. Almost about 60 to, I would say roughly 60, 90 minutes before the lawsuit came out, this video by Mick Foley, A Message to America and Donald Trump, came out. And I find that a little bit sus because Mick hasn't been a guy to condemn McMahon. You've had people that work closely alongside him that have straight out condemned him. You've had Bret Hart. Eric Bischoff called this stuff with the allegations by Janelle Grant evil. He was more or less talking as if this stuff is true, that he believes her. But then you have the Ring Boy scandal, the lawsuit filed against Vince McMahon, WWE, and TKO. And with this, it's saying here that it was brought to public's attention. This was back in 1982 when the late Tom Cole accused WWE ring announcer Mel Phillips and former wrestler turned vice president of operations Terry Garvin of sexually abusing him and other male teens who were recruited by Phillips to set up shows and run errands. So that was out there. And again, just 60 minutes after Foley did his video on Trump. But Mick's this guy, I'm a big guy, with respecting women, supposedly friends with many of the WWE divas. Works for that RAIN charity for victims of sexual abuse. And Mick Foley said, "And Vince McMahon, I'm choosing to appreciate him to learn more until I learn more about what may have gone down." And he had said here, the bold text here, "I genuinely liked him. My relationship was never the same with him after I left WWE and went to TNA for 3 years. But to this day, I'm still trying to find an address to write to him, just to thank him for taking a chance on me." And he had said this stuff in about, I think it was a month or so ago, and it was like a Comic-Con with Rikishi. I think all of us are a combination of good traits and bad traits, and you hope your good traits outweigh your bad traits, and it seems perhaps that Vince got it backwards for a little while. But I've been there when he's done good things, I've seen him do good things. I know when I was writing books, I wanted to essentially do something like Chicken Soup for the wrestling fan soul, about some of these heartwarming moments. He was someone who did the right thing for the right reasons a lot of the time. I feel really bad that someone I care about got into something that seems pretty unsavoury. I'm going to hold off judgment until I see the docuseries. But I think one thing that's fortunate is whatever he did or did not do, I don't think many of us are allowed to mess with our memories. He was instrumental in creating some of those memories, so I'm choosing to appreciate him until I learn about what may have gone down. Yeah. So Foley's taking a different approach. It's not like the Bret Hart was just saying. He said it straight up that Vince will go down like a joke, like a punchline to a joke, like a Harvey Weinstein type joke or a Jeffrey Epstein type joke. But Mick Foley, though, he's overlooking it, though. He had no problem getting his moral high horse with Trump on the video you saw. He's been on his moral high horse about Elon Musk before. That was the reason why he left X. But when this stuff comes up about sex trafficking and abuse, physical, sexual abuse, Mick's overlooking that with Vince, though. He could get up on his high horse about Trump, though, and the stuff that he did. I'm not saying that stuff that Trump's done's right. He got on his high horse. He was demanding WWE remove Trump from the Hall of Fame. And, and again, the guy's sexual abuse, but then he's working for that charity RAIN, which, again, I don't know if maybe they're just giving him a free pass on this. I don't know what the hell they thought. Maybe they just it hasn't been on their radar. But this guy, to me, is a real fucking hypocrite. And I just don't like him. Don't respect the guy. He's a multi-millionaire. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit about my opinion. But the guy who at one point I thought was quite an entertaining character and could respect what his accomplishments and his passion for the industry, this guy to me just seems like a clown, a hypocrite, and there's not a moral compass there to me in my book, because the guy, to me, I think personally he's been at it, and there's maybe other people there too associated with McMahon, who are gonna, there's obviously going to be the John Cena's and Undertakers that are going to defend McMahon. But Mick Foley, it could be a lot more calculated, this, because, I mean, the thing about Mick Foley, the irony of this whole thing, it's like he's doing a message being critical of Trump to take the focus off of Vince, to put the heat on Trump. But the thing about that, though, Mick should realize that Vince and Trump are boys. They get along well. They've done business together. If Trump gets in office, just having Trump as the president of the country alone, there's a pretty good chance that they will protect McMahon. It's weird how these things work, but it's linked. It's all linked there with people, the political parties. Didn't Harvey Weinstein get that Freedom Medal Award or whatever when Obama was in office? But then the Me Too movement. This is when Trump's been in the White House for a year. Boom, the Me Too movement. Weinstein exposed. So it's like, if anything, if you want to protect your boy, Mick, I would be thinking you'd want Trump in the White House, because I don't think Kamala Harris is going to protect Vince McMahon. This is the lady who, when she was, she was the prosecutor in that whole case with Michael Jackson. Well, the child, all that abuse, those allegations there. And, when she was a prosecutor, she was, parents of kids who were truant were getting put in jail. Some people might say, well, that's how you clamp down on things where, kids won't be truant. But that's pretty strong, right? That's pretty extreme. Story out there that someone who had been wrongfully convicted for murder The prosecutor in the court, she was there. She laughed. She laughed right at him. Like, this is a cold woman, right? You know, she'll be getting up there to probably like Hillary Clinton levels of wickedness. So in a way, you know, Trump's got skeletons in his closet, man. You know what I mean? He was buddies with Epstein, all this other stuff, abuse of women. There's that big, was it 60 million, 80 million payment with that? Like, he's got his issues, right? But in a weird, messed up way, it's kind of like it's the lesser of two evils, though, with Trump and Harris. And for Vince McMahon's sake, I think it would be bloody Donald Trump you would want in the White House. If you really want to protect Vince and hope for his best interest that he isn't going to, with this huge, could be major lawsuit, or even potentially if it turns criminal and he's doing jail time. So in a way, you'd want Donald Trump to be to become president. But I just think Mick Foley is such like a freaking hypocrite. Got really no time for this guy anymore. And it's just a case of Mick getting up on his moral high horse at best, but at worst, this could be a lot more calculated. And this was a blatant attempt to put this out there just before around the time of the Ring Boy lawsuit, when that got announced, to distract people and from that, and to be getting to point their finger at like, oh yeah, Foley, yeah, Trump sucks, blah blah blah. It could have been that calculated on Foley's part, but that's my take on it, guys. But there is some other stuff that I've covered on Mick Foley before. These allegations filed by Angel Amoroso that they were filed against Mick Foley and a few other people in the business. If you want to check out that video, feel free, just right there. Some pretty serious allegations that were there, and Mick Foley, and another one there on the thumbnail, Paul Heyman. But feel free to check that out. But that's me for now. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.